Now we're going to take a look at the Create button. When you select Create, you have the option to post an assignment, post a quiz assignment that's like a Google form, post a question, and think of these like discussion questions. There's material, the option to reuse post, and topic. So first we'll go ahead and we'll create a topic. So you select topic, type in the name of your topic, and click add. Your topic will appear at the top. You can always click and drag to move the topic where you need it to go, or you can select the 3 donut holes or the skinny snowman, and you can choose to move it up or down within your topic list. Going back to the Create button, reuse post. This is a great option if you have material that you post on a pretty regular basis. For example, like if you're adding words to a sight words list, or maybe it's an SAT vocabulary list, and you posted a Google Doc and you're just adding those words in to the Google Doc each week, and then you just reuse the post for all of your classes. Reuse post, you're able to pull up posts from both current Google Classrooms as well as those that are archived. Material is an option that I use quite a bit, simply because material to me means anything that the students need to be successful in completing their assignment or their work. So materials could be links to resources or websites or digital textbooks. It could be uploading PDFs of readings for students. It's anything that the students are going to need, but they're not necessarily going to manipulate or change. So it's what they need to complete the assignment. So I select material, and I'm going to give it a title. You can give a description if you want to include instructions or just offer an explanation. You can do that. The option to add, you can add documents or files from your Google Drive. You could insert a link to a website. You could insert a file from your computer or thumb drive. And then you also have the option to include a YouTube video. So if you think of the add button as you already have this created, you're just going to add it in. So you just have to determine where it is that you're going to go pull that resource, whether it's from your drive, a link to a website, a file that you have saved onto your computer, or a YouTube video. The Create option allows you to create something new straight from within Classroom. So you don't have to go up at the top, open up a new tab, go to Google Drive, click new, and then select a doc, sheet, slides, drawings, forms, whatever. Or even going to docs.google.com or slides.google.com. It doesn't, this is great just to kind of keep everybody on task, because you can easily create from within this window and you don't have to waste time opening up a new tab. So we're going to add an existing resource, and I'm going to add it in from my Google Drive, and it will pull up my recent. Upload is where I can go, and I could upload if I am selecting a document from my computer that I have saved to my computer, or if I have a thumb drive. I can go to my drive or start if it's something that I frequently use. And then please keep in mind this search bar. Anytime you see a search bar in Google, whether it's in Google Drive or here in Classroom or in Gmail, anytime you see that, just know that you can search for anything within a particular document. It doesn't even have to be something that is in the title of the document. If you just remember one word that's pretty unique, that's within that document, you can search your drive for that, and Google will look not only for titles but contents inside your files for that word. I'm going to go back to recent because this typically is where I go, because it means that I've been working on something, and I've looked at it pretty recent. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to select just any document. In this case, it's a slides presentation, and I'm going to insert. I could also double click to insert. And this is going to just give a view only copy to this Google Slides presentation. So again, it's a material that I'm adding in. So it's nothing I'm having my students do. I just want them to have this as a resource. If you look over to the right-hand side, I can assign it. It defaults to the Google Classroom that I'm currently in, but I can assign it to multiple classes. I also have the option, if I only have this current class selected and I don't have multiple classes selected, I can differentiate instruction by determining whether or not I want it to go to all students. It will default to just this class, but all the students. So if I need to differentiate this instruction and provide either additional resources for students that maybe need some more support, or if I want to give extension activities, I can decide which student I need to assign that work to or that material to. So just keep in mind you can post an assignment or post material to more than one class at a time. Or if you're just within one class, you can post it to some of your students, but not all. And then I'm going to select topic. I've already created my topics, and so I'm going to go ahead and just put it under the new one called test review. Okay, very much like your options for creating a class announcement, I could post this right away, or if I click the drop-down arrow, I can have this scheduled to go out on a certain date and time. If I wanted this to go to this particular class at a certain time, maybe it's the time that the class period starts, I can schedule that in. If I'm not quite ready to post, or maybe I need to create a few more resources to include here, I can save draft, and that will save under my topic because I have the topic selected here. So it would save as a draft, and it would show up as a draft in my Google Classroom, or I can just discard the draft, and that will delete this resource or this post. Even if I don't select anything, Google automatically saves it. So if I click out of that, it will post it as a draft for me until I go back in and either choose to edit, and then I'm going to schedule the post to appear. You can click here and you can select the day, and then you can choose the time that best suits you, and then just hit schedule. And so you can see right here, it's in gray to indicate to you as the teacher that it is not posted yet, so it's not visible to the students at this time. I'm going to go back to create. If you click on question, you can type in a discussion question, and you've got two options. You have an option to create a short answer question or a multiple choice question. This is super great for quick assessments. So you're just getting kind of a temperature check of your students. You want to make sure that they're on the right track with their learning. You want to pose that question quickly. It's not necessarily a quiz. It's more about kind of monitoring their progress. So you can choose whether to make that discussion question a short answer or multiple choice. And you can include instructions. That's optional. You can add in resources or materials or create new, very similar to the material option. I'm going to click multiple choice just so that you can see what that looks like. Again, you put the question here. If you need to add instructions, and then option 1, you would just click and that would become your first choice. You can add another option, second choice, so forth and so on, and you can do it a number of times, however many that you need. If you look to the right, same options as you had for material. You can choose, it'll default to the class that you're in, or you can choose for this question to go to multiple classes. If you just have this class selected, you have the option to differentiate instruction and only send this question to certain students. Now, because this is different than material in that you can ask a question and have it be for a grade if you would like. I currently have it set for no category, but if I wanted to change that, my categories, if you remember, we set up our categories in settings. So I could include, I could make it a major grade or a minor grade. If I were to give it a grade, it would be a minor grade. But I'm actually going to leave it at no category because maybe this question I'm just kind of gauging where my students are in the lesson, how they're feeling about the material, what resources do they need. So I'm not setting this up for a grade because I just want to get their feedback. I can create a due date, and the due date will appear on the Google Calendar. So I could select it to be due, that students respond and answer to the discussion question at this date, and then I could even select a time. Again, I can put this under a topic, whichever topic I want to. I can choose any. And then I typically leave this off because I don't necessarily want my students to see a class summary of the results. So I just deselect that. Now I can go ahead and ask the question and that'll post it right away. Or I can schedule it, save a draft, or discard it. All very similar. So once you get comfortable and familiar with posting, all of these under the create button are very similar. So I'm just going to go ahead and ask, and it says this isn't going to be included in the overall grade, and that's exactly what I want because again, I'm just trying to get a feel for how they're doing. I'm going to go back and select create again. And so this time I'm actually going to skip over quiz assignment because that's going to be in a section all its own. And we'll go into an assignment directly. Now you can give this assignment a title. You could include instructions. So if you wanted to provide resources in with the assignment, you can. And if you were doing that, if you were putting everything all into this one post, I would probably be sure that I include instructions. And so I would say, watch the YouTube video or view the slides presentation before you start working on the assignment. So, but it is optional. You don't have to include instructions. I just feel like if you're going to put in multiple resources, it's helpful to let them know what it is that you want them to do with it. So I'm going to click add, and this time I'm going to insert a link to a website because I want them to go to it. So I'm just going to enter a website and then add the link. And then maybe I want to include a file for my computer. If I wanted to do that, I select File. Now I'm on my Chromebook, so I need to select the Upload, Browse, and then I will see in my downloads, I will see the PDF that I want my students to use. And then whenever I include the document, I can give my students additional rights. So this is a PDF document, and this is just a sample for our demonstration right now. But if I were to select this arrow, students can either have access to view the file, students can view the file, they can edit the file, or you can have this document, you can have it make a copy for each student. And when you select this option, it will, when the students open the document up, it automatically puts the student's name at the top in the title. So that is incredibly wonderful and super helpful in the classroom. So this is a PDF. I may not want my students to do anything with it except to view the file. So I've got a couple of material or resources there for them. And then maybe I want to create a Google Doc for them to put their responses. So I'll just title this and then it'll take just a moment for it to load, but the students will see the title of the page. And then I want the document to make a copy for each student so that when the student turns it in, it has their name on it. So now I can go to the right-hand side, and again, these are very similar to what I've seen in the past. I can select the classes, I could choose what students I want it to go to, I could establish a category for it, I could give it a due date, select a topic for it. Rubrics are fairly new, but you've got the option to create or import a rubric into Google Classroom. And then this plagiarism checker, it checks for originality of documents. Just so you know, you can use this plagiarism checker or utilize the originality reports 3 times in a classroom. So essentially 3 times a year. It wouldn't be something I would use all the time, but maybe if I had a particular project or like a research paper or a book review, I would save those for those major assignments that I want to go ahead and run the originality report. Just like the other posts, it'll save automatically. I can assign it. If I select the drop down, I could select to schedule it or save it as a draft, or I could discard it altogether. Again, it'll show you whether or not it is currently posted and live for students to view, like this one, because it'll show up in blue, or if it's grayed out on the teacher side, that indicates to me as the teacher that it has not posted to the students' Google Classroom yet. Okay, so that is how you create all of those. You have all those options to create in Google Classroom. And then our next topic, we're going to go into quiz assignment in case you're not very familiar with Google Forms.